not all variables are positive. We talked about this briefly when we talked about picking numbers, but again, just realize that some problems give you variables which you can actually pick numbers for. The strategy here, make sure when you pick numbers that you try negative numbers and fractions as well as positive numbers before you make assumptions. Our example tells us if n is not equal to 0, which of the following must be true? N squared is greater than n, 2n is greater than n, or n plus 1 is greater than n. Let's take a look at Roman numeral 1, n squared is greater than n. If n is equal to 2, then 2 squared, which is 4, would be greater than 2. 4 is greater than 2, that's true, but it's a positive number. Now let's pick a negative number. If n is equal to negative 1, negative 1 squared is greater than negative 1. Negative 1 squared becomes positive 1. Positive 1 is greater than negative 1, so this statement is still true. Our third situation, let's go ahead and pick a fraction. 1/2 squared is greater than 1/2. Well, 1/2 squared is 1/4, and 1/4 is not greater than 1/2. So Roman numeral 1 is not correct all of the time, so we therefore have to say that it's false. Roman numeral Number 2, 2n is greater than n. If n is a positive number, again, if n is equal to 2, 2n is greater than n, 4 is greater than 2, that's true. Now let's pick a negative number, negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is greater than negative 1. Negative 2 is not greater than negative 1, so statement 2 is also false when we pick negative numbers. Okay, let's take a look at our third Roman numeral. N plus 1 is greater than n. In our first case, again, let's pick a positive number. N is equal to 2. 2 plus 1, or n plus 1 is greater than n. 2 plus 1, which is 3, is greater than 2. So in this case, when we use a positive number, it's true. If we use a negative number, let's say negative 1, negative 1 plus 1 is greater than negative 1. 0 is greater than negative 1, so it's still true. In our third case, when we use a fraction, we'll say n is equal to 1/2. 1/2 plus 1 is greater than 1/2. 3/2 is greater than 1/2. It's still true. So Roman numeral 3 is the only situation where we use a positive number, a negative number, and a fraction, and it holds true. So we would choose, in this case, answer choice C.